But over the last several months, all of the action, all the excitement, and why Mr. Sprott and a number of other key investors have decided that this is a good place to put some of their money is because of our acquisition of El Cubo from Endeavour Silver Corporation.
Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. And as you may have heard this morning, Eric Sprott, new shareholder of VanGold, and James Andreson was kind enough to provide a brief update before the market opened. But fortunately, James can dig in, give people a little bit more of an overview of the company, what led Eric Sprott and some of the other investors you have on board to be interested in what you're doing. So welcome back on in. Certainly an exciting day. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good, Chris. A little bit of a background on VanGold and what it's all about. We're active in central Mexico in Guanajuato. We've got one project that was a past producing project called Penguico. But over the last several months, all of the action, all the excitement, and why Mr. Sprott and a number of other key investors have decided that this is a good place to put some of their money is because of our acquisition of El Cubo from Endeavour Silver Corporation. It's a 1,500 ton a day mill and mine. It comes with a big resource. People can look at our PEA that we posted highlights of in a news release a few weeks ago about the resource that's in place. And we will be in production probably faster than any other silver and gold producing company in Canada or Mexico. The mill is built. We're buying it ready-made. It needs a little bit of TLC, but we'll be putting material through that mill. The plan is by September of this year. So we're going to be very, very quickly in the ranks of producing silver and gold companies.
Yeah, and James, appreciate you mentioned that because especially in this environment where we are told Janet Yellen's getting ready to go big after dishing out $1.9 trillion, there are a lot of people, myself included, who think that the rally is far from done. So obviously, like you mentioned, you're going into production. Can you just talk about the timeline again so folks know what to look for as the key hurdles there?
Yeah, so I mean, we've de-risked a lot of it. As I said, we've published highlights of a PEA, and that'll be up on CDAR here in just another couple of weeks. So we've got an idea about how we're going to get into production very, very quickly. There's stockpiled material that's available for delivery from Penguico. That's our first project, which is only 8 kilometers away from El Cubo. So in the past, El Cubo was run at about 1,500 tons a day. We think that that's a little bit too much, too fast for that particular mine. We're going to be happier, and I think the mine is going to be happier if we run that mill at about 750 tons a day. So moreover, we'll be taking material both from El Cubo and 8 kilometers away by road. It's about 5 kilometers in a straight line. So we'll call it 3.5 miles in a straight line, maybe, is our other project where there's old stockpile material, both above ground and underground, which we've already tested last year in a bulk sample. So we know, how it works in a mill metallurgically and from recovery purposes. So we'll be able to combine those two operations, be sending material through that mill by September of this year.
All right. And James, a question I had for you that I thought was interesting. I am going to pull your chart back up here. And it's quite a move over the past month or so. We're here on February 12th, 21 cents, and we're recording this Wednesday night up at 42 cents, which I found particularly interesting because if you look, the gold price has actually declined over that period of time. And I was wondering if you could comment on any specific factors you think led to that.
Well, I think the factors are almost entirely our purchase of the El Cubo asset. So this is something that we were working on for 5 or 6 months, in through the last part of last year. The opportunity came to us. We did a lot of due diligence, Chris, on whether we can, make a go out of mining at El Cubo, and everything that we looked at gave us the thumbs up. And we said to our friends at Endeavour, yeah, okay, it's a deal. With the combination of the two projects together, it's one of these situations where 1 + 1 makes way more than that. And I think that the market recognizes that and continues to trade to new highs as the market reprices us to be Mexico's next silver and gold producer.
Yeah, and it's interesting, James, because I was going back, revisiting history. Here we are. Look at us a year younger there, back in our youth, on April 16th, 2020, almost a year ago. And let's pull up. So here's Wednesday night's gold price, 1728, let's call it. And would you guess what the gold price was back on April 16th when you were last on the show?
Yeah, I'm going to say it was exactly the same. I think the gold price has moved up and come back down again. Where was it?
There it was. It crossed right through. We know it touched the exact same number at some point that day you were on. And yet, I took a look at your chart here where 3 cents, these are the American prices. So 3 cents to 42 cents in the last couple of years, in the last year, rather, while the gold price has stayed the same. And something that, again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do. Any of the companies that I bring on have been vetted by someone that I trust that knows this at an even deeper level than I do. And anyway, it's just always nice to see when one of the companies comes on and then follows through and then has a successful year. And just thought that was interesting with a flat gold price environment.
Well, yeah, I can comment on that. I mean, we've had a lot of success, but I guess just as importantly, or more importantly, we've done a lot of work. The bulk sample that we did last June, putting 1,000 tons of the material from Penguico through one of Endeavor's other mills down there, that helped a great deal in terms of people believing that we could make money on the material that we've got in sight right now at Penguico. The other, because it's, I think it is a good chart, and it's a good talisman for what VanGold's all about and how we're working. My partners in Mexico are outstanding. And I was telling you just a moment ago when we were off camera, Ramon Davila, who was the chief operating officer of First Majestic, through all the big growth from no production to 12 million ounces of silver production per year. He joined as an advisor last week, and I think that's a really good indication of the quality of people that we've got working with us in Mexico to make this into a successful company.
Yeah, certainly having people who have expertise in the right steps can go a long way. And especially as you were mentioning before we recorded, it seems like you're right around that pre-production sweet spot. Would that be accurate, James? And
Yeah,
explain what that is.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chris. It's 100% accurate. We used to call this the discovery rise and confirmation slide. So you can see in the green portion of that, that's when you get your first drill holes and wow, it looks so exciting. But you come to a top and the market realizes just how long it's going to take for fruition to put a brand new discovery into production. And in fact, I mean, this is an interesting stylized graph that you've got. Today, that timeline is way longer than 20 or 30 years ago. Today you're talking 14 or 18 years as an average from discovery drill hole to production. So I mean, it's, what you do a discounted cash flow model from that, what's that worth, the ore that you're drilling today? It ain't worth very much. Where your circle is what we used to call the second best time to buy a mining stock, but it's the best time in terms of risk versus reward. And correct, right where that circle is, that's where I think VanGold is today, because we don't have to build a mill, we're buying one. It was only shut down 14 months ago. It needs a little TLC to get going again, but we've got, after yesterday's financing, we've got that money to not only purchase the mill, but to be able to refurbish it properly as well. And that's why we can get back into production so much more quickly than most other situations out there.
And again, just to reiterate that you're not out looking for the gold. You have the gold, you know what you have, and are now bringing it into production.
That's correct. The resource, the highlights of that resource are published in a news release from a couple of weeks ago, so your readers can go and have a look at that. And that's a resource that was published by Bear Dolbear. Bear Dolbear is one of the most established mining consultancy companies in the world. That's who we got to do our preliminary economic assessment. So yeah, we've got, and they call it a 7-year mine life, at that 750 tons a day. model that we're going to be working with.
All right. And one other thing I was hoping you could touch on, you mentioned the El Cubo district. Can you talk about the history there and just that it's an area where it does have a long history of successful projects and what is possible going forward?
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I think it's one of the most important parts of the story, really. Guanajuato is one of the oldest and most storied mining camps in North America. People have been mining silver and gold there for 480 years. So within 60 years of Columbus sailing, there were conquistadors walking around in Guanajuato saying, "Holy smokes, look at all the silver and gold here." So it's an extraordinarily long-lived mining camp. And the asset that we're purchasing, the El Cubo asset, El Cubo's been in production on and off, but mostly on for about 200 years, right? So do I think we're going to be mining here for another 100 years? I do. We get to buy from Endeavour not only the mill and the mine, but we get 7,000 hectares of mining claims in this fabulous mining camp. So there's an enormous amount of exploration potential that we will hope to unlock in the years ahead.
Well, it's exciting to see the progress you've made in the last year, which I think is nice because people can go back, watch from a year ago, and find out what you were saying then and how you followed through. So perhaps, James, just in wrapping up, if folks have questions, how do they stay posted? What's the best way to reach you?
You can send me an email, james@vangoldmining.com. You can go onto our website, vangoldmining.com. And yeah, we pride ourselves with our interaction with shareholders. So I'm happy to field questions and comments at any time.
Well, sure appreciate that, James. Congratulations on the deal, and we will look forward to following your success going forward.
Thanks very much, Chris. Thanks for the opportunity.